gosh, can we go live, please? Little Caesar. Oh, meow. Oh, meow, meow. Hey guys, trying to think I'm live. Taking forever. Oh, Caesar's meowing. Okay, I think we're live. Hello? Anybody there? Part 4 of the live stream. Seizure? Not seeing anything in the chat. It's the deal. Hello, la di da di da di da di. What is the problem? Okay. Can anybody hear me? Okay, I see Igor in the chat. I know there's more than just him, but somebody talk to the chat was. Basically, can anybody actually hear the words that I'm saying? I gotta keep talking, blah, blah, blah. A little frustrating. Okay, yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, now I'm seeing the feedback. People are saying they can hear me. Okay, good. Well then, I think what we could do now is, get into it. Okay, so yeah, let's just jump into it. Although, actually, hold on a second. Let me go grab myself some water real quick, and then we'll start jumping into it. Okay, so it's Brazil campaign time. It's been going good. Almost 5 minutes and we haven't even gotten started, but the idea is today we're going to keep working through the Quadros plan, and things should hopefully hit a head that we could, that Quadros will then take control of the country. So we're hoping that's going to happen. Who you call? Let's see here. So yeah, we're also, okay, so what we're doing right now is we're going to try to work something out with the Japanese. So we're going to see how that goes. A lot of stuff that's helping with the inflation going on. Inflation's at 38.4%. You know, the inflation does a lot of bad things to us, especially increasing how much consumer good factories that we use and stuff like that. No longer getting the effect of the bountiful harvest, unfortunately. Today's probably not going to be a long stream once again, just as the work is relentless. And also, I kind of thought I wasn't going to even get one at all, so didn't do one at all. Alright, time to negotiate with the dock workers. I don't remember which one of these is going to help us with Quadros. So, basically the dock workers are saying we want a 10% raise to our pensions, 6% raise to the minimum wage. Then we can stop tomorrow. Let's see how long the strike will drag on, how much the action could toss him. Perhaps Luck could win the game by not playing. Strike was not selfish or risk-free. He could send them all home to happy families if he opened his wallet. You want President Nagatoro to step on you and give you welfare. Well, we're doing Quadros today. The Nagatoro thing. So, I don't know what's gonna help with the Quadros. I think we need to cause a crisis. Okay. Come on now. You choke me on your cheap cigars for this. The president will not be swayed by high numbers and pleading eyes. Goodbye. I think we want to say we won't be swayed, because then that's going to piss them off, right? On the other hand, if I went the other way, isn't that going to do the thing? Lot's influence will grow. No. Okay, yeah, I was going to say we actually might want to trigger it so then the oligarchs get mad at the current administration. That might be what we kind of want more. Okay. I think we're, gotta sit here. Okay, I'm seeing a bunch of deleted messages in the chat. That's not good. So we're gonna say, I don't see you retreating from this anytime soon. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'll meet your demands. So we're gonna give them their extra pensions and their wage increase. So that should strain the government's money, but also what I think will be the bigger factor, excuse me, is going to be how, how they get pissed at me. Lot kowtows in negotiations. What persuades you to open the treasury? We want to resolve the dispute. It was a decision. Let's see here. It's a decision I made now, Quadros. If a little confusion is a consequence of something that must happen, it's better we resolve it sooner. Now I have a simple problem. I need to find the quickest way to get you out of the way to my office. I made no mention of Quadros, nor do I intend for you to realize he may be making those decisions soon. The dock workers didn't see you negotiating with them. They saw Quadros pushing you into a chair. He didn't need to be at the meeting to profit from it. Be careful, Mr. President, and have a good day. Oh, perfect. So the relationship got worse, and Quadros' influence rose. That was exactly what we want. That's great. I thought it was going to have to be one or the other or something. Anyway, how's everybody's day been? Hope everyone's well. Huh? Okay, yeah, loyalty is, they're somewhat loyal. Yeah. That'll do it, I think. End of the dock workers strike. Uh-oh, what's happening? Oh god, I think I'm crashing. I'm crashing. I'm crashing. Oh god. That was close. Okay. Let's see what I could do here. Sorry about that. What caused the crash? I was Darkside 100 says, my boss called our group at 3 a.m. in the morning because of something that needed fixing before 8. Yeah. Oh man, I hope you get compensated for that. Of course, bosses like that tend to say things like, well, that's what we pay you regularly for. You know, that kind of bullshit. Oh man. Okay, so I'm gonna try to get the game booting up again. It's a problem with the launcher, possibly. Oh man. What the heck is that? Oh, it's Caesar. I heard this like, little clapping noise. They said that banner will follow it to the end. Oh yeah, I was showing that picture to some friends. For those of you who didn't see it, somebody put in their bedroom a banner of a screenshot of a tweet, and the tweet said something like, "Sex is temporary, gaming is forever." So yeah, there you have it, huh? Great thing to watch while eating a lunch of chicken and fried rice. Sounds good. Yeah, sorry about the reboot, guys. I'm not sure what caused the crash. I really, really hope there wasn't some sort of update, or else I'm going to be in a world of hurt. So, we'll see what happens. There we go. Okay. Try this from the autosave, shall we? Come on now. Okay, here we go. This mod makes your weeb heart go doki doki. Yeah. Same since Stefan. Come on. Don't crash. Okay, okay, so there we go. You get your demands. Now we go forward. Yeah, sorry about that. It's been taking longer, it feels, to boot up, too. That's kind of a problem. Okay. Strike leader jumped. The latch was silent. Now we're gonna get to the end of the strike, right? I think. Into the dock workers strike. Surveyed the eyes with the critical eye. Lines bisecting the Amazon jungle could be the artery of future Brazilian land development. Brazil will be brought to it. Holding up progress in KR and placed at the bottom of a thick pile of pears. Now we get that later. From nowhere, this road shall make somewhere. Okay. There, we got through, I think it was like that event that was causing the crash. So let me make a little save file here or something. Right? Then I think we can return to our regularly scheduled programming. Once again, very, very sorry about that. Erica in Japanese is really fitting considering both were Axis members. True. You speak it a true. Okay, so how was, yeah, I was saying earlier, how's everybody's day been? Hello there, Nick Krosoff. So I know that things are going slow right now, but of course we're trying to get right now to this point where we're going to, finally... Well, yeah, we're just trying to get the crisis to trigger, and you know, it's like anything else, it's like once you hit 64, it's going to start picking up a bit. Alright, so stuff with Japan may begin. Negotiations have collapsed, or the negotiations succeed. Military loyalty. We can come over here to worsen our relationship by investigating peasant leagues. Ooh, agrarian reforms would be good. But I'd like to complete the Quadros plan. So let's just maybe wait a couple of days, see what happens. Okay, so make another save file here. I'm gonna call this Sphere Negotiations. Very nice. Okay. So, Quadros cannot believe that he agreed to drink this bitter nonsense just to suck up to the Japanese trade representative. They should be drinking mate, not this green sewer water, he thought. Vice President Quadros, I hope you are well, said the trade minister as he entered to bow. Quadros still wasn't used to this custom and he attempted one back as well. Trade Minister Goto, it is an absolute pleasure to welcome you to Brazil. Why did I say Paris? I hope we can have some discussion regarding a potential trade deal in our economies. I understand that your government is in a significant amount of debt, Vice President Quadros. The Sphere is ready to help you with the continued development of the Brazilian economy if you are also willing to do the same for us. Of course, Minister Goto. Why else would I invite you here? I was hoping to discuss the potential start of a trade agreement to pay for the restructuring of a small part of our debt. If you would be so kind as to look at my proposal, I think there's a lot that benefits both of our nations. Quadros smiled as he pushed forward an envelope with a Brazilian seal containing a set of development plans, tariff reductions, and corporate agreements. Much to his surprise, the Japanese representative layered his own folder directly on top of his and gave a forceful shove back. Vice President Quadros, I insist that you look over our plan first and discuss it with your cabinet. We will start there. Please let me know as soon as possible when you and your economic ministers have reviewed our proposal. Thank you. Quadros' shock and anger had barely registered before the Japanese trade representative left the room, leaving him alone. Heavy folder that he had to carry. Disappointing reminder of who truly has the upper hand. Okay. On the Krosoff. Yeah, there seems to be some issue here, or you're not showing, is that showing your comments or something? Anyway, what was I gonna say? Okay. So let's hopefully see this event pop up. We want to get this up before the focus is there. There we go. Okay, here we go. Ugly choices. This was the combined package and offer we have to accept. Why did you just not throw this in the trash when you left the room, Hanyo? Nevis corrected aloud. If we agree to this plan, we're out of our mind. This is guaranteed to make us a subservient state of the Empire of Japan. At this rate, we should just enact the austerity policies ourselves and just make it so at least we're only screwing ourselves rather than letting ourselves be screwed by somebody else. Quadros stood up empathetically and clapped both of her hands. This is the smartest sentence you've ever come out of your mouth. I'm thrilled to see that you agree with my ideas on how to fix and improve our economy. Let me toss this Japanese trade agreement in the trash, like you said, and we can quickly get to work on what fat can be trimmed from our spending programs. President Lott raised a hand to object and replied, the potential land grants we'd be giving the Zaibatsus, but you cannot deny there's still benefits for this plan. We need the help we could get. So, casino price is too high to right our economy. The plan will be accepted. So our stability will drop by 8%, but our national debt will decrease sharply. So we're at 8.7% now. Let's see. What do I think is the best of the political baths for Brazil? Oh, well, I don't know them all yet. There's so many. It's definitely more complicated than the United States is. The coup possibilities and stuff. Okay. Plus, we don't want Lott's influence to grow. No price is too high to right our economy. The plan is accepted, so we were at 8.7 billion. So we gotta reduce the tariffs, which is gonna hurt our income, but inflation will start dropping and stuff. As long as we get to the Quadros plan complete. Okay, between Neves and Quadros? Oh, like I said, I don't know enough yet about them to say. Okay. See, I could keep pumping up, promoting the independence thing, but I don't think we really got to do that. Is Quadros gonna Buri-Buri but in South Africa today? We'll see. It's what? Well, it's like in October and it's like October into or not October, 63 into 64 that stuff starts popping off. So we'll see what happens. Free State of Magadan declared war on the Russian government of Amur. Yeah, by the way, I haven't heard y'all's picks. I probably should have asked earlier. Who do we think is going to win in Russia, by the way? Because, okay, so Amur and Magadan have already started going to war. But in Sablin has won in the Far East. It also didn't drag on forever, as these things often does. So yeah, I just would like to hear what y'all have to say. Depends on how cursed the current timeline was so far. Level 1 real unicorn hours. Go Nasai. Everybody's on Tom's. Tom's gonna unify everything. Yeah, like I like to hear what people think who's gonna unify Russia as a whole, but also who they think will win each region. Oh god, I think we're gonna crash again. No. Okay. I think we're good. God, what is fucking wrong? You know what? Hold on a second. Something here. Get that task manager open. It says that Chrome is sucking up my memory right now. Have open anything I have open I shouldn't. Close some tabs. I guess. That, close that, close that, close that. Ah, this might be the issue. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Just significantly cut down on some of the memory. Okay. So, we got development edict available to here. I just always keep sponsoring industry. There's a Kakaya thing going on in Japan. Alright. Man, I really wish we could, you know, get some science going a little bit faster. If Kishi for Japan, Kaya is a death route. Really? So Kaya always leads to Kishi? I've never played Japan myself, so I don't really know. Okay, the big green Swiss cheese. The Trans-Amazonian highways crossing a great deal of land. People are displeased by it. There's a green map of the next 100 kilometers. More holes in the grandest Swiss cheese. There's dark circles, ellipses, rectangles, and all sorts of other shapes and geometrics could have better named. All land belongs to local bigwigs, men of great means and generous hearts. Accommodate local interests. The highway's path would have to be adjusted, of course. All this could generate delays and additional expenses, but what could HOI4 do? The recent wars in Europe have made luxury foods pricier than ever. Blessed are the cheese makers. Yeah, that's basically what happened several years ago. There was an attempt to get a like a bullet train system set up in Texas. It was going to go between, I think, Dallas, Austin, and Houston. So it would be a triangle, but it was going to have to go through a lot of what do you call it? Cattle land. So that was going to be a whole thing. Yeah. Excuse me for the sniffle. Dun, 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 dun. Timeline is cursed already. Money's on a tabby. The savior of Russian nation. Okay, Japanese tariffs are down. It's time to give the Saibetsu land grants. They're gonna fucking love that shit. Land will be sold cheaply to our foreign partners. This small loss will serve as a good faith demonstration of our will to strengthen our commercial ties to the Far East. If the next century is to be an Asian one, Brazil must get on the ground of this new era. As opposed to get in on the ground floor of this new era. But it's fine. Nobody wanted a high-speed train smashing a cow at high speed. Corruption at the Trans-Amazonian Railway. Yeah, so there's people who are paying engineers to avoid the land. So we're going into the crisis here, which is good. Misplaced report. Yeah, I don't know much about speed rails. I've never ridden one. They seem cool. let's see here. Life as the vice president was pretty uneventful, beyond accomplishing whatever task lot deigned to assign him. Vice President Quadros spent a depressing amount of time earing through the presidential palace like a lost dog, holding a suitcase full of documents. Not going anywhere anytime soon. Occasionally he drifted into the empty chambers of the president's office. Lots of secretaries usually tried to drop him from visiting the president himself. I just want to help, right? The president is a hard-working man. Of course, sir. There's a box. The files the president wants to look at later. Document was files on government corruptions. The president has dutifully handled most cases. Was the first in... Let's replace the other files. So yeah, so we just wiped some files about the issues that are going on. El Catunazo, the Chilean south, is aflame! What began as a simple land seizure by local presence in the Cautan area has escalated into an effort to seize lands owned by major landlords by force. The nation watches as everyone expresses support for different factions involved, but some worry as to how this conflict seems to be more coordinated than a simple local struggle. The conflict spreads throughout the south like a wildfire. Landlords and peasants alike are arming themselves and building barricades, while radical revolutionary groups fan the flames. Some reports claim that Ernesto Guevara is involved, but those are unconfirmed. As it stands, the Chilean government is quickly losing control of the situation. I really gotta figure out what the heck is the deal with, yeah, Chile doesn't actually have a focus trade. Interesting, I thought they did. I don't know. Interesting, I never heard that about California. Oh my gosh, we're still at 78 freaking % consumer goods! With the horrible settlement and the industrialization and the corruption and all of it sucks. It's whenever these Asian things happen, that's where's the lag for a second where it feels like it's gonna crash. Don't know what's causing it, but I'm sure getting nervous, I'll tell you that much. Okay, I think we're good. Maybe. Possibly. 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 Quadros' broom will take care of it. It was supposed to be a compromise, make Central Valley Conservative supported, but it's killed the project. There's some talk of revamping with the SAC SF line, though. I take it that's supposed to mean Sacramento to San Francisco. Like I said, the freaking seems cool. The bullet trains. I don't say it's just it just seems interesting. Okay, what are we gonna do? Okay, let's murder most foul. Firm had been collecting rubber, and there were natives. Cannot just say it had been done to the natives. Yeah, the head of the local rubber firm wanted to remove them. He exterminated them. It was so brutal, in fact, that even some Nazis and Japanese lot knew of might blanch in horror and disgust. Deploy police the 11th parallel. See that human filth is brought to justice. Okay. So yeah, there was a little bit of extrajudicial killing going on out there. God be doing that. You can't be doing it. There we go. Oh. Okay, under new management, when Makoto got the news of his reassignment to Brazil, he couldn't believe his supervisor sent him off to some faraway country. So I think this is a Japanese guy. He came in for the new land Mitsubishi just purchased. He couldn't believe how large the space was in total. Although all the factories still needed to be torn down, he anticipated getting enough space for a couple factories and maybe a small space for trucks to park. Rather, it seemed to him there was enough space for at least 10 factories and a processing center far larger than what he imagined. How much did the board purchase this land for? Makoto wondered. Now he began to understand this position wasn't a demotion, but a promotion. There was a bevy of opportunity and the potential was limitless. As construction crews, cranes, and equipment began to be unloaded on a truck behind him, Makoto cracked a smile. There was a lot of work to do, but Makoto was no stranger to that. Better him than anyone else, he thought, as he began issuing orders for the demolition of the old factories. Sometimes people just need a fresh start. Okay. Sorry about that. So finally, the Quadros plan is complete. Vice President Quadros, an odd presence within the Brazilian political sphere, has long had her doubters. Our decision to begin her program of economic reforms was seen as a dangerous step backwards. Our critics on the left accuse us of reversing the policies that saw the Kubi-chan era bring Brazil into modernity. Now that the program has been completed, Brazil has come out of a shadowy valley and into a bright new era. Our industrial growth has slowed and the economy has suffered a few setbacks on the way. However, the debt crisis that rocked the nation is a thing of the past. Our deficit is finally narrowing down to zero. Most importantly, inflation, that killer of working-class families, is finally a thing of the past. Vice President Quadros is content that our government has followed his calls for austerity and financial reforms. We now turn to face the future, better equipped to safeguard the nation's prosperity. The inflation will go down. Am I supposed to lose a lot of this debt or whatever? I guess not. Okay, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Extrajudicial killing of natives in Brazil? Well, I never. See, this does make me wonder about Japanese immigration to South America and TNO. I kind of feel like it wouldn't happen on the same scale, considering Japan has colonies. Yeah, I figured that this whole Brazil-Japan thing, though, this sort of deal is one of those things which I like to see in alternate history, where there's like the things don't happen the same, or something does happen the same, but it's what do you call it? It's like things aren't the same, but they lead to the same results or something. So it's like some Japanese are now going to end up in Brazil. There's probably going to end up being these small Japanese communities around Brazil because we've been selling the land cheap to the Zaibatsu. That's interesting. We must build up that infrastructure around here. I probably should do it in Sao Paulo, actually, whatever. Good evening, Tenebrification! Verona Conference ends. Is that supposed to be Nero from Fate? I haven't watched that one. I haven't even finished the whole visual novel for Fate, but I'm pretty sure that's Nero still. Okay. So, what's the next play here? Okay. Japan would seem like a nice counterbalance to America since they have a track record of humiliating the U.S. Given this new relationship with Japan, probably would have a Brazil with a similar Japanese community like in Australia. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Oh, excuse me. Yes, indeed. Wow. Matter of the PSD. Neves walked into the friend. What's the issue with them? The writers in the PSD are angry. They think you've bent too much to Guarlo and Quadros. Miner's case in point. I have faith in you. Okay, we're gonna lose. Basically, we lose 25 political power. That's what matters. Fuck me! Just gotta have to deal with it. Shoot-be-doop. Okay. Let's, yeah, we don't have the political power to do any development edicts. And we're only getting 0.39 a day. Still pretty bad. Novosibirsk is taking out Krasnoyarsk. Quadros plans seem to play all sides. Japan, America, and the Reich in an independent diplomatic path. Gotta play both sides so that you know, you always come out on top. Oh, jeez. It's feeling like it's gonna crash on me. Oh, this graph down here, yeah. We got inflation down to 34.1%. But, yeah, there's just basically a lot of negative effects that come from it, including political power loss. Vitor's challenge. Vitor had been a bureaucrat for years now. More people could read. The richer peasants were older and care. Guess somebody's taking care of one of the areas. As he left the last house of yet another poor peasant who'd still trained herself with immense dignity to tell him of her plight, Vitor steeled herself. She was a city woman. She had never been in the countryside, but these people who fed Brazil, who formed its heart, had been lied to again and again, forced to cling to empty promises that were never fulfilled. Commission will ensure the peasants get their due. This is the agricultural commission we just did. Time to deploy Goulaut. Who's respected amongst the rules borrowers. Oh yeah, so I have that now. I can actually work on an edict. Uh oh. Makes me feel like I'm gonna crash any moment. Monthly just for birth go down, urban population growth. Monthly mechanization growth. What's it at now? Non-existent. Well then let's encourage migrations. What do I want to do? GDP takes a small hit. We want the mechanization rate growth. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of migration, there was I was listening to a story. I was listening to this lecture of this historian who had written about World War II. I think it was Beaver, and he was talking about how in one of his books he talks about that Korean guy who basically ends up going around the world in a westerly direction over the course of the war because he keeps getting forced into these armies and then is captured at them. And he was talking about how he thought that story was so interesting, and he liked to find stories of soldiers like that during World War II because like his father had been in like the British Special Forces, and they were talking about how like while they were in Italy they had ended up capturing somebody who was clearly an Asian man, but they couldn't talk to him and like, because they couldn't figure out if he was because I guess he couldn't speak Japanese or Chinese, so they didn't know what it was. And then in the end, I think it turned out that he was like Tibetan. It was Tibetan or Thai. Yeah, but like by some freak reason they found like a Buddhist or something, and the guy tried to talk to him, and then he ended up having a conversation, and then they talk about how like this prisoner they had captured, this Asian prisoner, just started weeping because like he hadn't heard anybody speak Thai. I think it was Thai. Hadn't spoken Thai in like 3 years. Which makes me think of that scene in Barry Lyndon. I won't spoil too much for those of you who haven't seen it. It's a terrific Kubrick movie. But there's a part in Barry Lyndon where the main character he's an Irishman and he's pretending to be something else, and he's trying to spy on somebody who also claims to be a certain nationality but is actually Irish. And the first time they're in a room alone together, the main character just starts crying, pretty much for the same reason, because at that point he hadn't been at home to Ireland in so long. So he's just like the worst spy ever, and immediately confesses because he's just like, I'm Irish too, and I know you're lying, and you're Irish, and it's just so good to see you, pretty much. Yeah, the story, and I could be wrong, but I think it's like the guy was Korean, and he ends up in Manchuria, and then there's that battle that the Soviet Union and Japan had, which was more than just like a skirmish. There was like tens of thousands of soldiers involved, but he ends up getting captured by them. He then gets put in the Red Army, and he's captured by the Germans, and then he's eventually captured by the Americans. And then he goes to a prisoner of war camp in England, and then a prisoner of war camp in the United States until he's eventually free. And then I think he just ended up staying in the United States until he died. Like voluntarily though. By that point, I think he didn't die until the 90s. He'll have to get back to me another day. Yeah, it must have been a hell of a ride. Military's getting restless, feckless. And there's other stories too. Oh, excuse me. There was like that one American, I think his name was like Joseph Bailey, who got captured by the Germans and ended up in a POW camp, and he escaped, and then he ran into the Red Army. And it wasn't just anybody in the Red Army, it was that one tank battalion that was just driven by women. And so I think he's like the only person in history who has ever fought in and been decorated by both the United States and the Soviet Union's armies. Like he won medals for both of them. He almost circled the whole world, never managed to return home. I think by the time he got, I think it's like he ended up just staying in America. He probably didn't want to go home at that point. Who knows? Excuse me. What do we got here? Get the. Do we want the anti-tank? No, we want the. We gotta be thinking about. Let's see. We gotta be thinking about Africa. Oh, can we at least get to Hitler dying today, please? Do our best, do our best. Da, 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 da. Alright, Tomsk is making its moves out here, and they're being led by Shostakovich, for those of you who are wondering. Alright. What do we want to do here? Alright. What we want to do is, let's see... Yeah, investigate peasant leagues. Military has no illusions about this. They've been talking a lot. Decisive action must be taken. Quadros, backed by members of the PTB, is complaining quite loudly about this proposed method. He thinks it could backfire us, but law and the military believe the benefits of putting down these seditionists far outweigh the risks. Well, we're going to investigate it. Yeah, because Quadros doesn't want that, but it's going to make their relationship worse, which is what I want. Yeah. That will work, I think. Okay. Latin American military loyalty issues, gotta do that. Can't imagine there was much of a home to go back to, especially with the Korean War and the amounts of... Yeah, you know, that's another thing. Like, which Korea would he have gone back to? Was he in the north or the south? I don't know, don't know. Okay, so there's something Mexico got right after the last epic flame out of a civil war. It was making sure their military got crippled to the point of near helplessness. Mexican Revolution. I really should find some proper... I wonder if there even is one. Just like a solid... just like single volume book on the Mexican Revolution, because even though I spent most of my life in El Paso, Texas, which is a border town, you know, we get a fair amount going on about the Mexican Revolution. Yeah, it's not really something now that I think about it. Hear much about. Like, I'm trying to think if there's a single particular, for example, scholar of the Mexican Revolution who I'd go like, oh yeah, that's the person to read. A lot of it's oral history. Deploy Guyart. So Guyart, this is the commie. Saying don't mistake me for an aristocrat, that's all I am, no deserves to... Okay. Those who steal your grain, those who rob you of your efforts, that make life impossible, those are not guests, they are not welcome, none deserve to have their hard work chiseled into nothing by the moron artisans of the greater powers. The crowd stood partly confused, angry voices dying off only to listen to who had been sent to quiet them, and stood partly in anger growing back into their souls, their fists, themselves as a whole, as they listened to the lone politician ahead of their protests. You have all suffered under the tight yoke of those who have ignored you, trampled you. I have seen it, even now I see it. That is why I will not rest, will not sleep until I have passed a bill so strong that even the lowliest thief will pay his local representative to vote against it. This was something to behold, he knew. All that remained was to fulfill his promise, and God help him if he didn't. Yeah. But yeah, there's like every freaking Mexican woman and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, because it's like obviously they're ethnically Mexican because their families came from there. Because it's like it'll be part of the story where it's like, oh yeah, my great grandmother slept with Pancho Villa, and it's just Ain't that special, honey? Now, having said that, I know a woman who, I think it was like her great-grandfather was her great-great-grandfather. She said that she was like an accountant for Pancho Villa and ran away with a bunch of his money. That's how he started his life in America. It's just, woo! Now that's ballsy. No pun intended, because, you know, like, it's a story of a guy instead of, you know, someone sleeping with Pancho Villa. Okay, so anyway, Sunday at the beach. I don't think there's anything to do with us. Mexico, that's where Iberia announces creation of the Iberian Council. Adios doing their thing. Okay. Every Southerner has a great-grandmother who's Cherokee. It's always Cherokee! That's so true! There's like so many fucking tribes. You know, you got Comanches and Mississippians and you know, I'm not even gonna name them all, but there's literally dozens and dozens of tribes. And it's always Cherokee. Every time. You couldn't be Sioux, you couldn't be Lakota. You know, every time it's just like, oh yeah, there's some Cherokee. It's like, what is the deal with that? You know, Dakotas, Creeks, the Pawnee, the Shawnee, the Navajo. Just has to be, it just has to be Cherokee every time. Yeah, that is. I remember though that a friend of mine, or not a friend of mine. Why did I say a friend of mine? He's not my friend. Hey, actually, he was an asshole. He was a professor. He was a real asshole in his personal life, but a great professor. But we were talking about like Rome and like Etruscan art and stuff and its influence on Roman art. And I thought it was a pretty good parallel personally, where he talked about how like Romans would love to try to trace themselves back to the Etruscans whenever they could, because and he basically compared it to like Americans who are the children of, you know, the great grandchildren of immigrants or whatever, who will, you know, say, oh, you know, my great grandmother was a Cherokee woman, and it's like, just to kind of, because it roots you in the land. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, we can hoist a joint press conference. We got some other stuff down here. We can do the audit. I think promoting the loyal officers might be good. Actually, what I think might be better is, let's come over here. I really want to get this, keep working on this doggone, Trans-Amazonian Highway. I think we've, maxed this out, actually. Development speed. Oh, I think there's actually 0 development speed going over 5% here. Mm-hmm. Family reunions were weird, but because of their mothers, they had to reply. So my grandfather from my father's side said his dad survived the Mexican Revolution by making a hole and using a rock for a lid so he wouldn't be conscripted. Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda? Is that like... Is that like Osama bin Laden's alias when he flees to South America like those doggone Nazis did? I like this picture. As the war came out of Germania, the so-called capital of the world, Adolf Hitler suffered the fate of all flesh. Many people of the Brazilian public joined people throughout the planet to celebrate the demise of the man. Yeah, Lacerda is celebrating. Quadros, this is us, celebrated the situation the only way she knew how, by getting drunk. Let's see, yeah, people are celebrating, but there's somebody who's sad about it. Wilson Liet Pasos. Replaced Tyrant. Wilson went to the German to expect some fame. He was on the German, and perhaps the Nazi German might begin to fall. This is not the end, not by any means. Yeah. You know, I haven't been there in years, or at least a couple years, because of obvious reasons, the Backstreet Boys reunion tour. But there's 2 art museums here in El Paso, and the one downtown is like greatly eclipsed the one that used to be pretty good. A key part of it is, long story, but basically the downtown art museum took the collection from the other art museum, like this key collection of a lot of great European art. It's a whole lot of stuff. If you ask the Museum of Modern Art, which is the International Museum of Art, which was the one that's not downtown, they'll tell you that it was stolen. It's a whole thing. I don't want to really get into it, but let's promote these loyal officers. Let's do it. But they've got all sorts of stuff in that museum, and I remember in like their basement they had this room which was just stuffed to the gills with exhibits and items of the Mexican Revolution, and it was amazing. And I never knew that it was even in El Paso, and everybody that I would tell about it had no idea it was there, because most people don't even know about the International Museum of Art in El Paso because they just go to the one downtown instead, which is very, very good. I do want to say that. But it's like that International Museum of Art, the so-called International Museum of Art, they should just cut their losses and turn themselves into the Museum of the Mexican Revolution. And I think there would be a lot of traction there. That you know, yeah, people would get interested. There we go. German Civil War. It is thus necessary that the individual should finally come to realize that his own ego is of no importance in comparison with the existence of the nation. So it begins! No matter which one of them lives, the Amazon rainforest will crack and blow away. We will pave! And once we've paved, we'll drive some cars. And in the end... Oh, dang, I was going to say, we can drive coast to coast, but there's no western Brazilian coast. Yet. Dun, dun, dun! No. It's going down, indubitably. Okay. Franco-Burgundian War, speed run! Speed run! Can I get it done in a week? Probably. Act 3 win. Dude, fucking never. Those 2 Proto-Man albums are some of my favorites ever. They're both things I would be happy. They're both albums I would happily be stuck on a desert island with, and we're just never gonna get the Act 3. Having said that, I think I saw a thing that they were going on tour. Hold on a sec. Proto-Man tour. Let me check that. Yeah, they sure are. Oh, they're going to tour in Europe. Oh, good for Europe, I guess. Oh, it's already over. It was in April. And besides that, it just looks like they're doing... Or no, it's going to be in 2022. Yeah, they're... Proto-Men are going to Europe. That's pretty cool. Going to Berlin, the France Club. Is that the club? I think I've seen that before. That, like, there's supposed to be this club in Berlin... that's like in a basement, you know, pretty not traditional. But it has no circulation, so they always gotta have fans on the stage for the band, but you know, you can't really do much about the people in the pit. And but they do like a lot of rock concerts there, and I remember seeing this line on the internet where somebody described it as it's the world's loudest sauna because everybody's just sweating their asses off down there and rocking out. The Mexican Revolution, yeah, it was against Porfirio Diaz. Fun fact, there is a Porfirio Diaz street in El Paso, Texas. It's very short. It's actually just like a small bridge. It's like you exit, like if you're on the highway, there'll be, an exit sign that says, exit to Porfirio Diaz Street, and the Porfirio Diaz is just the name for this bridge that goes over it. So it's just for when you want to get off and you go over the bridge to go to this area called Sunset Heights, which is near the university. Whirlwind of Chaos is a good description of the Mexican Revolution. Yeah, I call it the Finnegan's Wake of revolutions, because like the French Revolution was really complicated, but once you sit down and learn about it, you can understand people's motivations, and then the thing that becomes the big deal about the French Revolution is arguing about, well, when does it start, when does it begin? Or, are these values correct or incorrect? But the Mexican Revolution is just a total mess that's like impossible to keep track of who's who and who's where. And then the KKK is shooting at the Vatican troops, and you're going, how the fuck did we get here? And then, of course, you got the Russian Revolution, which is like the revolution of revolutions. It's huge, it's long, it's bloody, it's complicated, it's fucking controversial as fuck. It also kind of is like dubious. When does it start? When does it begin? Like, does it start in February? Does it start in October? When you want to talk about the French Revolution, do you need to talk about 1905 first? Do you need to go back to the Decembrists to talk about the Russian Revolution? Freaking the People's Tragedy, that book on the Russian Revolution, that starts in like the 1870s, I think. Cause I'm sure I should know that off the top of my head. But... oh, the Syrian Civil War. Well, it's hardly current. Don't get me started on the Syrian Civil War. I signed up for news alerts for the Syrian Civil War back in like 2014, or was it? No. Anyway, so I used to get, not really so much now, but I would get multiple news a day about the Syrian Civil War, and I'd read them, and it would be all sorts of different points of view. And I don't talk about it on the channel, of course, because that's a very recent, obviously it's as recent as it gets as a conflict, and I think it would be extremely controversial to talk about it. But and my friends who I would try to talk about in real life, they very rapidly let me know they didn't give a shit about Syria. About me talking about it, so I just keep it to myself. But yeah, the Syria is a whole thing. You need to go back to the birth of Christ to understand the Russian Revolution. Okay. I'm trying to think what I would compare. How would I describe the Syrian Revolution, or excuse me, Civil War? Because, yeah, the Russian is like I said, the revolution of revolutions. And then you've got Finnegan's Wake Revolution over here, and the French Revolution is like the template. And you got the bourgeois revolution of the, or the birth of nations. There's a lot of different terms from it. Tom's looking thick. Yeah. Oh, here we go. The Bull and the Panda. This is Adamar and Barrows. If you want to see the Adamar campaign, watch my pre-recorded series. Then you got the Iranian Revolution. How would I describe the Iranian Revolution? Let's see. Lesson 1 of the Russian Revolution. Kievan Rus was a polity that dominated Russia from the 7th century to the 11th century. What's happening? Oh gosh. We actually might just go ahead and stop it right now, because the war in South Africa is about to kick off, and so I'd like to spend Yeah, here we go. The African Shield has been formed. And there goes Amur. The Syrian Civil War. Well, let me tell you this about the Syrian Civil War. I'm not saying whether I agree with it or not. Some would say the Syrian Civil War already ended. Anyway, yeah, the Syrian Civil War could be a tricky one for future historians to write about. God help me, it might end up having to be me who does it. Anyway, yeah, all the things are happening. Yep. So yeah, the African Shield has been formed. So yeah, we're just getting ready for South Africa, but I think also we should be seeing stuff go down back at home. Yeah, you know what? I think we're gonna. That's it. Republic of South Africa declared war on the Boer Republic, so we're gonna stop it right there. Oh, do not fucking crash at me in the last moment. Do not crash on me. Okay. Yeah. So, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna be able to get involved in the South African War while we're also dealing with stuff back home. So we'll stop it there and pick it up next time. Yeah, I gotta get because like won't work tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Conquering History Games, and in the next episode, it's gonna be a really big one because we're gonna yeah, the presidential crisis will begin, and the war will alright as well. So. Sweet dreams, everybody. Get some dinner and I'll go to sleep early.